And this is our fourth story. It happened in the last few years, and after this story we'll have a break.
I'd arranged to have a 12-week scan, and I actually remember skipping into it. The midwife was scanning us for over an hour. She kept getting me to get up and move and jump around and drink water, and then was saying the baby was very quiet and not really moving. She went through our blood results and explained that some of our blood results were very worrying. Together, her with another doctor had said that it was either triploidy or severe placental insufficiency, but they'd never seen a baby who presented as our baby was live past 16, 17 weeks, and we'd most likely have an imminent miscarriage. At first, we were hoping that they were wrong, and every week we'd come back and I'd ask the doctor, did it still look like she was going to pass away? And every week he would tell me that she was going to pass away at some point during my pregnancy and that she would never be born alive. I suppose as the weeks went on, it got more and more unbearable because I thought she'd pass away by 16 weks and then 18 weeks, and then at 18 weeks we got our results of all our tests, which confirmed that she had full triploidy, which meant that she had a complete extra set of chromosomes. They said that variant of triploidy is always fatal. There was no hope. When I was 24 weeks pregnant, I remember thinking, how can I be pregnant still with my baby who is going to pass away? Walking into the hospital and you'd see everybody else with bumps and carrying these car seats with their babies, and realising I was never going to be leaving the hospital with my baby in a car seat. My baby's going to be leaving in a coffin, but I still have to come here every week. And I'm still pregnant. And I remember thinking, why am I still pregnant? They said as long as there was a heartbeat, they couldn't induce me. And even if I was at 40 weeks, they couldn't induce me, so that they would leave me go to 42 weeks and let it happen naturally. I really wasn't sleeping. I wasn't coping at all. My blood pressure started to go up, and they had said to me that I was showing signs of early preeclampsia. It made me feel like I didn't matter. My life was the same as like a non-viable baby. But then it looked like they were prepared to let my physical health and my mental health really deteriorate at any cost for a baby that would not live. I had this dying baby inside me, but it felt like I was dying as well. And it felt like neither of us were getting the care we needed. We'd sent all our files over to Liverpool. They didn't believe, well, it was fair on me to force me to continue with the pregnancy. They also didn't believe that it was fair to force a baby to go through birth who couldn't survive it. If a miracle happened and she did survive labour, that she would have a fit and die instantaneously, but that it would be painful and distressing, and that their medical opinion was that it was kinder to put the baby to sleep, that they won't feel any pain, and then induce labour. And I think that was the first time I felt that let it happen naturally wasn't actually the best way, and that as a parent, if I went abroad and chose to have an abortion, that was actually caring for my daughter. Part of the problem with the Irish system is that I felt the medical professionals couldn't speak freely. I never really knew if the advice they were giving me was what they thought was actually the best advice, or if it was the only advice that they could give me. It was frightening, and it also felt like I couldn't really come to a decision as what to do, because I felt I needed to talk openly and freely with an expert so I would understand everything about my decision. That could be also why we spent so long waiting and not travelling. I was frightened. I didn't want to leave Ireland and travel. I didn't want to have to lie to people and tell people that I'd had a miscarriage or that I'd had a stillbirth. Probably because I loved her so much. I didn't want her to be associated with an unwanted baby. I remembered talking to my daughter and telling her how sorry I was. That I wasn't strong enough to continue with my pregnancy. And I was so sorry she didn't get to meet her grandparents and my sister, and that we had to leave. But I'd felt continuing with the pregnancy was putting my physical and mental health at risk, and that it wasn't going to change the outcome. And I was lying in bed at night having nightmares about her being born and not being able to breathe or having fits, or was she in pain? We decided to go, and then everybody in Liverpool being so kind and compassionate to us, and seeing that the care they were giving us, that we could be giving our women, and that we're choosing not to. Not all pregnancies are going to have a happy end. Women will need to end their pregnancies. When she was born, she looked perfect, but it's very small and very fragile. And they had said that for her dignity, it would be better to leave her and have her cremated. It meant that when we came home, we couldn't have a service for her for another month until we got her ashes. That is another layer of grief that going away has added. It was like, go away, have your baby, come home. And it never happened, and it did. I didn't think my home would abandon me like that. I still miss her, I still wish that we could have had her, but I can manage my grief now. And I'm so grateful that I have a healthy, happy 1-year-old. But the thoughts of getting pregnant again fills me with such dread and such fear. I feel like I would be putting my life in danger. I suppose I feel like I have carried a pregnancy with a non-viable diagnosis, so I know what it's like to continue with the pregnancy. But knowing what being trapped in a pregnancy that I felt I wasn't able to be in feels like I don't think it's right to force any woman to continue with the pregnancy if they feel that they can't.
So I'd like to thank the woman for sharing her story with us. And again, just to invite you to take 2 to 3 minutes just to jot down or record how you are. Where does that story sit with you and leave you?